one of my biggest records. You know what I'm saying? And what I love about Drake is he cares about me and he cares about me winning. And you don't find many people like that. You know what I'm saying? And I have the same love back for him, meaning as in I respect him as an artist.
It's no secret that Drake is furious with the world right now, since this has been one of his worst weeks ever due to everything that's happening in the music industry. Drake is clearly growing increasingly irate over everything, as evidenced by the excitement around the Super Bowl and his tantrums throughout his recent tour. For the first time in a long time, Drake has not been scared to fully vent his fury during this all-time low. He only subtly criticizes guys like LeBron James or Kendrick Lamar because he has witnessed firsthand how disastrous it has been for him when he confronts them directly. This time, the one who has managed to enrage Drake is also one of the few persons in hip-hop and the music industry in general who is even more pitiful than Drake. Naturally, DJ Khaled is the person I am referring to. After attempting to promote his upcoming album by promising 2 new Drake tracks, which Drake was not pleased with, Khaled has now decided to cancel the entire album due to Drake's comments to him. However, before we continue, please remember to subscribe and leave a like. Following a period in hip-hop when we witnessed the most intense rivalry in history between Kendrick and Drake, as well as other men like Future, the boundaries between who belongs to the genre are now more blurred and complex than ever before. Since DJ Khaled is attempting to release a new album and of course is incapable of performing musically, his entire career and success depend on assembling other rappers and artists to form these massive collaborations. We are now witnessing, to the fullest extent possible, the extent to which this beef is having an impact. In the end, the release of Khaled's new album had to be cancelled almost immediately after it was announced due to the severe tensions in the rap industry. This is because, once again, DJ Khaled is able to reach new lows and demonstrate how pitiful and disconnected he is from everything but himself. Khaled ended up causing a lot of issues with his new album announcement, which included an absurd trailer that was more than 7 minutes long. He also made a lot of mistakes with the subtitles that accompanied the clip. After mentioning Jay-Z and the Black Album, possibly hinting at a feature from Hov, who has appeared on most of Khaled's previous albums, and essentially pleading with Rihanna for a feature, Khaled inexplicably believes that he can be the unifying factor at this time. He also typed out in the trailer and the absurdly lengthy caption that he has 2 Drake records on this album, stating that Drake is in a studio and back to work, which implies that they are now back together as well. Overall, the presentation and optics of this already appear terrible, especially because Khaled has previously hinted to pairing up individuals on the album who are not just at odds, but also have a major beef, as seen in the cases of Drake and Jay-Z and Drake and Rihanna. Particularly since Khaled released this, he made it a point to include the trailer and all of the captions, and one of the main things he was promoting was that he and Drake would be releasing new music, since this would be the first major artist to welcome Drake back after the collapse we have all witnessed. Drake's supporters were thrilled that he would be collaborating with someone who actually has a presence in the music industry before he could reply. Drake responded to Khaled's extravagant statement before anything else could happen by stating that Drake Bell must be featured on this album, because it's obviously not him. I won't admit, this was a very humorous move on Drake's part. This isn't a joke, and Drake has essentially made everyone angry and done with him. However, when he did this, initially people believed he might have been kidding or leaning into the idea that he has been expelled from industry circles like Khaled's, which we saw on his most recent tour. We soon discovered that Drake was serious about his remarks, regardless of what fans initially believed, since Khaled eventually deleted all of his announcements and trailers for the new album. It was made very clear that Khaled, who is typically known for being loud and annoying in the most annoying ways, would no longer be a part of the rollout because of his sudden silence. Now, the record has either been completely cancelled or is at least being delayed because of Drake's remarks, as the 2 songs that Khaled was most excited about appear to have been removed. We know that this is serious, since once more it forced Khaled to remove the entire post and announcement. With all of this, the situation is really crazy, because apparently Drake responded to Khaled's assertions by stating that it must not be him who was on this album. Drake has essentially told Khaled that he will never collaborate with him again, which has caused his favorite producer to cancel his entire record, something that no one ever requested. Given that Drake did state that he would no longer be giving out features following this battle, this at least shows us that some of the lyrics from his diss tracks have held up very well over time. DJ Khaled, a cloud chaser and wave rider, wants to use Drake to promote your album, regardless of how wrong Drake may have been to Future, Metro, or Kendrick, or even how much he lost in the end. However, you remain silent during the time when Drake could have used anyone with a presence in hip-hop, especially to support and help him. And of course, as we all saw, Khaled did nothing, despite the fact that Drake has never looked worse. What we are witnessing right now on what just transpired show that for every major loser like Drake, a greater one like Khaled will always emerge when we least expect it. No matter which way you look at it, given what he is doing here, from the fact that you believe a Drake feature in 2025 is worth something to the fact that you are using him to support your album after you did nothing during this time, and he only asked one person for help. You are so desperate for a Drake feature that you actually filmed a scene for your album trailer in which you discussed it. However, after Drake called you out, you cancelled your entire album because it appeared that whatever desperate attempt you made to get Drake for this project did not work out. All things considered, this whole situation is reaching new heights of desperation. And in a time when Drake has been the biggest loser in the rap industry, the fact that someone like Khaled, of course, actually made him look like he has something to stand on. Khaled is essentially telling the world how washed you are and how even after everything in rap has changed, from the sound to who you can collaborate with, you still can't think of anything new to do and are still trying to get a hit from Drake, which hasn't worked out on any of your previous albums, not even the Major Key album with For Free almost 10 years ago. What exactly was Khaled hoping to gain from this, considering all the possible perspectives on the matter? Because no one wants to work with you right now, including Jay-Z, Rick Ross, Rihanna, Future, and of course Drake. I mean, just from the looks of it, attempting to use Drake and Rihanna as the lead features off your album probably made them both never want to work with you again, regardless of how quiet you try to keep and how friendly you try to be with everyone from your connections or really past connections. Because there are so many personal grudges in the hip-hop and music industry as a whole, not everyone will want to collaborate on your mid-album, particularly in 2025. Did Khaled just lie about ever having Drake songs and believe that Drake was so desperate to work with anyone that he would have just run to his name if he was publicly stating that he would not be involved with this record and Khaled had cancelled the entire thing? I mean, Khaled included this in a trailer for the official release. If you wanted to be on Team Drake, you could have walked with Lil Yachty and Lil Baby to become the biggest clowns in hip-hop, but you didn't. Or was Khaled holding on songs that he hoped Drake would have just let him release after he didn't say a word? Regardless of how you view this, you can at least say that Drake has finally found a match that is on par with him in this period when he has been leading the league in losses, because Khaled has completely embarrassed himself here and is demonstrating that if you didn't already believe it, his time in the spotlight is over. I suppose it puts into perspective for Khaled that the industry is not content with repeatedly releasing the same song without making any progress, as we saw with all of the previous Khaled albums for years. To simply push your album over Drake's statement that he won't be releasing 2 songs on it. When you say that out and consider what this actually means, I suppose it's fortunate that hip-hop is experiencing all of this and that Drake and Khaled are at odds, because from Drake's perspective, neither of them needs the energy these two currently bring to the genre. Khaled, in his own way, has been a major contributor to the issues in hip-hop during the Drake era. In fact, with all of the forced industry friendships he has attempted to promote on each of his albums, and with all of his collaborations, he has done nothing to advance the genre artistically. All things considered, Khaled played a significant role in establishing and promoting the hip-hop culture that caused it to lose its competitive edge and order the rappers to become friends. Naturally, the culture that Khaled continued to promote in an attempt to achieve any kind of success ultimately led Kendrick to make rap more competitive than it had been in years with Like That in the first place. The Grammys this year have shown that this era is even over, and again, it's because rap is pushing its creatives more than we have seen in a long time, and not the garbage stuff like Khaled and Drake were doing. This is in contrast to the past, when we saw Khaled regrettably receive Grammy nominations for Best Rap Album, which really, looking back, captured how sad a place hip-hop was once in. Furthermore, rap has moved past this terrible era, competition has returned, and guys genuinely want to prove that they are better than one another. Ultimately, what we are witnessing in this period of Drake and Khaled simply humiliating one another is that although Drake may have the right to not support someone who did not support him during the greatest beef in rap history, he is also, in a sense, contributing to his own demise by letting go and not attempting to promote these same old garbage albums that do nothing to advance anything, regardless of his motivations. This is because, in front of our very eyes, the Drake era of hip-hop is quickly disappearing without Khaled. Hip-hop is in a better spot than it has been in years, because we can finally declare that the days of DJ Khaled albums are done if Khaled and Drake are no longer on good terms, and Drake isn't pushing these pitiful excuses of albums forward with a lead single. Now that you've heard all of that, tell me what you think of Drake and Khaled's whole predicament and who you believe to be the bigger loser. Will you also miss listening to Drake and Khaled together? Because I'm definitely not. I'm eager to hear your thoughts, and if you've seen the entire video, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Check out the suggested video to see how Drake is only growing angrier throughout this period of his feud with Khaled since he lost it over everything Kendrick Lamar accomplished at the Grammys.